Good morning, everyone. My name is Pako Lekoko, and I am the founder of the Global Runway Network. I am an entrepreneur. I am a management consultant, mostly focused within the business analytics and data science um, industry. And today I will be talking about the Global Runway Network, who we are, what we do, and what we have to offer to students who are going out to study abroad and also coming back from studying abroad. So without much further ado, I'm just going to share a presentation that I'm going to give to you today. Just give me a minute. Please feel free to just drop any questions or comments that you might have in the chat, even as I'm giving my presentation. And I will try my best to address each and every one of them at the end of my presentation. Awesome, let's get started. So first and foremost, I'm going to talk about who we are as a network. First of all, the Global Runway is a network of organizations that have come together with the mandate of providing comprehensive support to African students who have an interest or experience in studying abroad to become the professionals that they want to be. So the way that we do this is through mentorship and helping to give these students and scholars information in order to have them as prepared as possible, and by creating community around the scholars to be able to have the support that they need in order to become these professionals that they're aiming to be. We facilitate the successful transition from home environments to the international landscape, and also help to facilitate the transition back. Because what we've seen is that it's not as easy to come back in the same way that it wasn't easy to go out and study abroad. It is often quite difficult to also transition back into the environment of, being back home where you grew up after being away for so long at an international institution, which in most cases become, our home. So let's go straight into the mission of the organization. We really are out to create a vibrant youth who are driven to fulfill their purpose. We want to prepare students to study abroad where they want where they desire to study, in the different countries that they want to go to or they are placed in, and also facilitate information sessions, skills development workshops, and many other things to help them prepare. We equip students by sort of being a bridge between the professional or business world by providing this relevant information, creating links, creating a community and a network through which they can actually benefit to become these professionals or to actually succeed in the business world. So in essence, we bridge the gap for the dreamer, whether that dreamer is a student, a graduate. We bridge it to allow them to have a link to the corporate world as students and also when they graduate. And at the core of everything that we do, we want to promote psychological and social welfare for Botswana and now also African students. Most of our activities have been based within Botswana, but now we're branching out to go out into Africa. We do this through education and counseling interventions as well. But you might be wondering, why all of this? Where did this come from? Where did it, spring up from? Like all good business, business ideas or successful initiatives, it comes from a problem or problems that we actually saw or I was exposed to while I was studying abroad. I was a student in the University of Kent in the UK. And during my time there, I got to meet a lot of people who were, in essence, going through a lot of the same kinds of things that I was going through at the time. And from this problem, I got this urgency to solve it. But before I even talk about the solving, let me speak about the problem in and of itself. What I noticed in myself and also in my peers is that our mental health slowly deteriorated as we were away from home. This led to feelings of isolation. We left as some of the top performing students in the country, for example, from Botswana. And when we got there, our academic performance started to dwindle and go down. A lot of people, changed courses. Some even dropped out from the courses that they were doing. And this could either directly or indirectly be sort of traced back to a deterioration in their mental health, amongst other things, of course. Some of the students were very dissatisfied with the courses that they were doing. And this dissatisfaction kind of came from the fact that they were doing courses that were either not suited for them, either because they picked a course based on bad advice that was coming from somebody who was very well-meaning, and wanting them to secure their future and do a course that would sort of secure their job prospects when they graduate. But this course may not necessarily have been suited for them, their interests, their likes, their outlook, how they actually learn best. And also, this might have also been because they didn't actually receive enough information about the course that they were studying or the university that they went to. One thing that I noticed about universities is that really there is a huge difference in how a lot of universities sort of deliver their content. And based on that, it means that different people would be able to thrive in different universities and be able to actually keep up with the workload and be able to, understand the content in the way that it is taught, right? So if you have chosen a university which is not best for you, according to the way that you learn, you end up not doing as best as you could if, for instance, you were in another university that was better suited to you as an individual. As I said, students would change courses midway. And obviously, this is a long and tedious process. It's not as easy as waking up, telling your faculty or your university that, you want to change and go and do a different course. You have to fill out a lot of paperwork. You need to go to this office, do this process, then that process. And it's a very long and tedious process that can have you, maybe if you had started it in your first year, it can have you only changing a year later. And some of the times, what some of the students would go through is that they would kind of have a gap in their education because they were going through this process. On top of that, it is very expensive for people who are sponsoring a student's education, from the parents, if they are, sponsored by their parents, or scholarship facilitators and administrators, if they are on scholarship. And if you are like me and you are on a scholarship, for instance, from the government, then that means taxpayers' money has gone into something that will ultimately not bear return. So, for instance, if you are a second year student and you then dropped out midway, that is 2 years of a lot of money that has been poured into students' education that ultimately they don't use at the end of the day. So I mentioned dropping out, and this, as much as it is linked to issues of mental health, dropping out in and of itself is a problem. I don't need to go into what kind of problem and how vast the problem is, not only to the person dropping out, but also to the people who, in essence, put them in school. There are a lot of implications, and it's really just heartbreaking when you see somebody who has been close to you or who you knew go through something like this. So when I looked at these problems, I thought I need to solve it because I was having sleepless nights about it. I think back now and I wonder, why was that the case? But, we all have where we are called to. And sometimes that means sleepless nights. So when I envisioned a world without these problems, this is what I saw. I saw, youth leaders coming out of these institutions, coming out of Africa, going out into the world, getting skills, developing character, and developing a personality that says, I want to come back to Africa and I want to take Africa to a whole new level. This is somebody who is highly skilled. This is somebody who is Afrocentric and loves their Africa and is proud to be African. And this is somebody who is eager and able to pay it forward within Africa and give back by using their skills within the continent that birthed them. I wanted to see an African youth that is happy and fulfilled. And when I talk about happiness and fulfillment, I am talking about an African who is well informed about the spaces that they are in, about themselves, an African who is self aware and is on the journey to self mastery. I am thinking about, or I thought about, an African who is operating within their purpose, within their passions, within what they were called and born to do. And of course, I was talking about an African with good mental health. They're happy because they are in a good place inwardly before they can actually pour out to the rest of the world. And of course, because of my background in business analytics, and also as somebody with an actuarial background, I'm very interested in returns on investment. So when I thought about the investment that the students are making with regards to their time, their life, if I can even put it that way, because one leader actually said one time that really when you think about time wasted, that is in essence a life wasted, because who we are and what we have to offer is tied into the time that we actually have and that we put into it. So when I thought about all this time that students are losing, either changing courses or dropping out or having these mental breakdowns where they actually have to take time out to regroup and actually come back and only continue their education when they are better because of whatever it is that put them in that state, my heart broke for the time that they were losing. So I wanted them to get a better return on the investment of time that they were putting in. And of course, I was thinking about the money that was actually going into these courses and sponsoring these students' education. I was thinking about the fact that as parents, not every parent can very easily pull out so much money from their pocket to pay for an international education for their children. I was thinking about how much money is actually going into educating these people, and are the students' parents or the student sponsors actually getting a return on the investment that they're making with regards to the money that they're putting in. And also, I was thinking about the university resources. If you think about admissions at universities, and more so if you think about admissions to universities which are international and highly accredited, you think about how competitive it is to get into some of these universities, and the resources that actually go into educating the students that are part of the different programs that are at the universities are resources that they're not cheap, and to put resources into something that is not going to kind of give a return, whether it be to the university, but ultimately to the world. To me, I felt like that was such a tragedy and I wanted to do something about it. So I did. And the way that we did this, or the way that I first started to do this, first of all, I panicked a lot. And I thought, what? How am I possibly ever going to be able to do this? But because of the support that I got from the different people that I consulted, who advised me on how to structure this thing, and also the global team that believed in my crazy vision, and came on board and worked with me to create programs that ultimately helped us to serve the people who would benefit from them. So what I started or thought of in the beginning as a little project then grew into this organization and now network that has these programs that benefit students who are interested in studying abroad, or who are studying abroad, or who have studied abroad and are coming back. So maybe let me just take you through some of the programs that we have. Firstly, the student information sessions. These are information sessions that are catered for students who, let's say, for instance, are still at their GCSE, A levels, and equivalent before. So this is before they actually leave, and while they are still gathering information about the different institutions that they want to go to, the different courses that they're thinking about doing, the different countries that they're considering. This is catered for them. What we do in these sessions is we bring in stakeholders from these different institutions, and these are usually students themselves who are in these institutions or doing these courses, to come and speak to students and answer any questions that they might have. So they would give presentations about what they're studying, their whys, and they talk about the cities that they're in, and give students an opportunity to actually get some sort of mentorship, even though it may not be, close personal mentorship, but they get information on the options that they're considering. And this, in essence, helps them to be a bit more informed about where it is that they're going or thinking about going, and really assessing whether that's the place for them, and if they really want to continue and go there. So that is the student information sessions. And these are generally, online, which is true for most of the sessions that or most of the programs that we have. They are online. So it enables a student to be able to log in from anywhere in the world. And really, if you have a good internet connection, then you're good to go. Secondly, we have got a pre-departure course that, as the name suggests, helps students to actually prepare for their journey, or prepare before they leave for what it is they're going to face when they are there. So this is specifically for students who now, already have an admission to a specific university in whatever country that they're going to. And we cater for, different countries, and sort of try to specify it to the country that somebody is going to. So you would have, for instance, different sessions under that pre-departure course, sessions that help them to budget, or think about how it is they're going to manage their money when they get there. Sessions around the actual journey. When you go there, how do you get there? What do you pack where? What should you pack? What not to pack and leave behind? We talk about what happens when, or rather the visa processes, for example. Where do you go to get this such and such a visa? What do you need to have? What kind of tests do you need to do for a specific country? And then we go on, of course, to then talking about what happens when you arrive. What are the first things that you should think about doing? How to open things such as bank accounts, which banks might be a bit more student friendly than the others. And we actually give advice based on our own experiences and also the research that we do. So it's not necessarily like we would be promoting any specific bank, for example, but we would be giving objective information that we have either gathered from research or our own experiences. And then finally, we also just talk about student life. So after now you've settled in, what's next? What can you look forward to in a city? What should you always remember to do? Things like student discounts, and anything else that is really of interest to somebody as a student. And even in this course, you get an opportunity to ask questions that you might want to ask. And you also get what we call a pre-departure pack, which includes many, different goodies that are useful is the word, that are useful to students who are going out to study abroad. Next, we've got our One Mata Buddy scheme. So this is a more close and personal mentorship program through which students who are like lower classmen, if I can call them that, lower classmen who are potentially in, doing A levels and are preparing to leave, or people like in their first years and like more junior years of university would be able to have mentors that are upperclassmen, so your older grade university students, graduates, and also professionals who have the experience of having studied abroad. So this is really helpful because as the lower classmen go through different things, they actually have a contact to actually reach out to and ask different questions and ask, about any challenges that they might be having and get advice on how to navigate different things that they're going through. So this is one where we are actually really looking for people who are interested in being mentors and helping out younger students in a number of different ways. Please, if you are interested, we are looking for you. Reach out to us so that we can actually make you a part of this buddy scheme so that others may be able to learn from you. And, this really starts from second year because a lot of the time when people actually ask about who can actually be a mentor, and, you try to tell them, no, if you're in second year, you can actually mentor people who are in their first year. People often feel like they don't know enough or they don't have much to offer in this regard. But I promise you, there's so much that you can be able to teach somebody who is walking in the footsteps that you walked in. Okay, so that is our Wamata Buddy scheme. Next, we have our Lokota focus groups. So these are focus groups in which we essentially talk about different topics that are interesting or that are of interest to us as international students. We focus on everything from mental health to how to navigate a specific country, how to think about life after you graduate, or sometimes it can be something as specific as a focus group for medical students and how they can navigate now coming back into Botswana or whatever other country, and them coming back to actually settle in and actually start to practice after their studies. So this really is governed by what our beneficiaries and our participants feel are important to them. And some of the topics that we get for the Lokota focus groups are through some other engagements that we have with participants, or the different surveys that we put out, to actually get what it is that is important to our different stakeholders and what it is they might want to have a focus group and ask questions about, even as they are students. So this one is mostly focused on students who have already left home and are now studying in their different countries or their respective placement countries, so that we create community around them, so that they don't feel so alone and don't feel so isolated, so that they understand that there are other people who are going through the same thing or have gone through the same thing, and so that they can actually learn from one another in the focus groups, or create contacts that they can then keep in touch with even beyond the focus groups, to talk to network with, to connect with on a number of different things. Okay, next, we've got what we call skills development workshops. So our skills development workshops have mostly spanned across things to do with employability. Employability, things like self-awareness, for example. But obviously with the employability series is what we call it, being a bit more popular than all the others that we have done. This is because as students now, progress and become older within their university studies, they start thinking about, okay, a job. What happens now after I graduate? How do I start developing those skills that make me more employable as I am a student? Where do I go? What should I do? What should I not do? How do I create a CV? What about a cover letter? Things like LinkedIn, for example, things like personal websites. These are all things that we talk about. And we bring in professionals and partners that are in different industries to come and talk about employability from their perspective, whether it be HR professionals who come in and talk about what employers are looking for, what they are looking for when they are recruiting. Or we talk to professionals in specific fields to say, okay, how did you get to where you are? What are the routes that you took? And this is really just to allow people who participate to be able to have that firsthand information from these professionals and actually learn how to do these things. Because what we've found and what we are trying to do or avoid with our workshops is we are trying to go away from the seminar type workshop where you sit and somebody comes and they tell you this is how you do it, 1 2 3, and just brush over the high level stuff. But we go deep into detail and we talk about, okay, these are the different specific aspects that you need to include. This is what you should not include. This is how you should do it, and really get to the crux of everything. So somebody walks away from our workshops with what should I call it? A full belly, really. That's the best way that I can put it. They walk away with a full belly and ready to actually execute what it is they have learned. Yeah, so that is our skills development workshops. And generally, our skills development workshops are open to any and everybody who wants to be a part of it. Whether you are an international student, you're a prospective international student, you're a graduate, and so on. If you are interested in what our workshops have to offer, the topics that we will be focusing on, you are free to register and be a part of them. Finally, I will talk about our Abuela graduate reintegration program. So from the name, you can already see that this is focused toward people who have graduated from their studies abroad and are coming back into their home environment. This really just came from the fact that I saw a lot of the people that came before me coming back home and either spending a very long time unemployed or going into industries and being employed in things that they really did not study for and didn't have much interest in, but because of the high unemployment rate, they ultimately grabbed what was available to them. And obviously I wanted to change this because I was about to be a graduate soon, and I didn't want to sort of fall into that same pool. I'll call it a pool. So with the Abuela graduate reintegration program, the aim really is to reintegrate or reorientate, if that's even a word, graduates back into their home environment. So this includes things like reminding them of what the culture is in the home environment that they are coming back to, talking about obviously the work market in that country, talking about or rather incorporating employability skills and employability workshops so that they can actually now think about, okay, what's the next move? How do I actually now start working now that I have graduated? And we work with different partners to actually bring this to life, including corporate entities who are able to actually take on some of our participants and give them employment opportunities. Secondly, we also work with people, obviously, within the HR industry who can give advice and take them through somewhat of an employability series as well. We teach them the usual employability stuff, your CVs, cover letters, and so on. Interviews, we talk about interview skills. And We also focus on or give a bit of attention as well to entrepreneurship, because it is not everybody who comes back from abroad and is eager to work. Some come back with, explosive ideas that they want to put to practice, and we make room for those people as well. So we have previously had our first cohort for the Abuela graduate reintegration program. So it was 2021, 2022. And from there, we have successfully been able to place 2 people. I think we had about 10 to 15 participants, and we were able to place 2 people who successfully got employment opportunities through one of our sponsors for the program. And of course, this year we're doing it bigger and better. So look out for information on the Abuela Graduate Reintegration Program. If you are a corporate entity and you are looking for some bright students or bright, fresh graduates who are able to create real impact in your organization and add some real value, talk to us. And if you are a graduate or you are about to graduate soon, reach out to us so that we can actually include you in this program. So now I will speak about some of the things that are sort of bubbling under within our network that we are currently working on. They are not finalized, well, I'll try not to speak too much about them, but just to give you a sneak peek at what's coming. First and foremost, we want to start including, as part of our service offerings, employability services. So we would be working in conjunction with our partner Zaidi to be able to actually implement and deliver this service. So this service would span CV creation and reviews. And obviously, this is very closely linked to the employability series and skills development workshops that we have been doing. But we want to take it a step further and actually get to a point where we not just teach you how to do it, but help you on the process of actually doing this. Creating CVs, reviewing them, helping to coach you through application processes, reviewing your applications. If you have one to do, you would give it to us and we would review it for you and help you to make it better so that we can allow you or help you to actually present yourself in the best light. LinkedIn optimization. We know that LinkedIn is a very powerful platform, which is used for different purposes, with employment and employability being the top one. So we want to give graduates and even students, because as a student, you can also get a part-time job, an internship. So we want to help you to present yourself in the best light through your LinkedIn profile, through our LinkedIn optimization service offering, and also presentation coaching. We want to help students to be able to give good presentations, whether they are still students preparing to give a big presentation, maybe towards the end of their studies, or if they have a project that they're doing that they need to present. We want to be able to help you. And of course, as well, for graduates and people who are looking for jobs, you need to have that presentation skill, so that when you are in an interview, for example, and that interview requires you to present, you can kill it. And of course, interview coaching and the capability to actually do mock interviews with us. And then another one, which I am very excited about, is skills development on demand. So with our skills development on demand service, we would be able to allow participants or interested people to actually go through different courses that we are creating and develop their skills on their own time. So if you aren't able to make some of our skills development workshops, for example, you can just go to our website and look for a relevant course, take that course, and you would be, as good as if you had actually attended some of our workshops. And of course, the on-demand programs might be a bit more vast than the workshops, but we will try to cater for all the needs that we can in the best way possible. And another one that I am very, very excited about, because I am a research enthusiast, we want to create a bit of a research academy. We obviously, recognize that there is much to be researched with regards to international students and socioeconomic issues surrounding them, development issues within Africa, and also development issues having to do with African students and African graduates who have actually gone out and studied abroad. And we want to be able to deliver information that is not only useful, but that is ours, that is African, that is useful to us, and helps us to actually understand ourselves a bit better, can actually help even with policy creation around education, for example, policy creation around some of the development that we want to do or want to see around Africa. So this is still in the making, but well underway to actually being able to publish really good material that we hope you will enjoy. We're looking for partners in this. Just reach out to us and institutions that we can actually work with to make this a reality for us. And of course, partners. I've talked about the different partners and the different programs that we have, the types of partners we are looking for, and also the types of partners that in essence we have right now. We cannot do what we are doing without people partnering with us. We are looking for people who are interested in our mission, are interested in taking part and helping us to deliver our mandate, because it's quite a big one. It is a big task. It's a big mission and vision to try and do on our own. And our goal is really to create a network of organizations that can help us to deliver on this mandate, that can help us to put the international African student at the forefront, put that graduate at the forefront, to help us to be able to actually cater to them and serve them better. So we are really about, as I said, bridging that gap and being the bridge between the dreamer and their dreams, and pulling together different organizations that can be able to help us to deliver on this mandate. So if that is you or that is your organization, please do reach out to us. And of course, if you are interested in participating in any of the programs that we have to offer, reach out to us. We are more than happy to have you on. And you can contact us at our email, which is admin@theglobalrunway.org, or you can reach out to us through our website, which is www.theglobalrunway.org. Or you can actually reach out to us on different social media platforms. Just look for The Runway, and you will see our very beautiful and colorful logo, which has the globe and planes flying all around it. And reach out to us, and we would be able to and happy to assist in any way that we can to make any sort of international transition far much more easier for you. All right, so that is the end of my presentation. I'm just going to go to the chat and see if there are any questions. Okay, no questions. Let me see. I don't see any questions. I don't see any comments. All right. I guess that means then that the presentation was awesome. I hope what I had to say was informative. Oh, thank you so much, Imelda. And you're very welcome. Please forgive me if I butcher your name. I'm going to say your second name. Kuwate. I'm so sorry if I butchered your name, but you are very welcome. And I'm glad that I was able to give you this presentation today. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Um, thank you so much, Kushata. I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you and hopefully being able to serve you together with my team. Thank you.